What is his music?
Welcome back to the NutriMedical Report, and we have Dr. Walter PIERPAOLI, MD, internal medicine and pathology, all the way from Switzerland, probably one of the most brilliant doctors of our current era. He did the original research on melatonin and now is researching for decades now, probably the most important peptide in current human history, which is called TRH, but it could be called many other things. That's called thyrotropin-releasing hormone because it releases thyrotropin-stimulating hormone in the brain, but its also primary location is in the pancreas that releases insulin, in the jejunum, the upper small bowel, and has many biological actions. But most important, it is literally the anti-aging fountain of youth. This molecule, which is very likely the actual metabolic cure of diabetes, the metabolic basis behind many of the we call the degenerative illnesses of the Western society, and of course blockage of its release from the small bowel may be the underlying cause of I call the diabesity pandemic that's worldwide, and many of the other conditions that we tie directly to abnormal mitochondrial metabolism that's tied to the aging process. So welcome to the program, Dr. Walter PIERPAOLI.
Yes.
Dr. PIERPAOLI, are you there?
Yes,
Dr. PIERPAOLI, tell us about your research. The first thing is, we talked about this before.
I spent 22 years on TRH, starting in 89 when I saw, without wanting, through different experiments where I was searching the mechanism of action of melatonin, I thought it can be exerted probably through the thyroid gland. I was testing all thyroid hormones, and then I also was thinking of TRH, thyrotropin-releasing hormone, which was discovered by Roger Guillemin. By the way, I was lucky to meet him and to know him at the Congress many years ago. And he called it TRH just because he has some minor effect on the thyroid gland, but in fact has nothing to do almost with the thyroid gland, to the extent that TRH in some species absolutely no effect on the thyroid gland. So it's an emergency molecule, and I was surprised to see in 89 and then 1991, 90 I published my first paper showing the extraordinary variety of effect of TRH in different models. So going on with my research in 20 years, last paper was published beginning of last year in the States on current aging science, showing that in fact the TRH is a basic metabolic agent. It changes completely your metabolic pathway from aging to juvenile condition. So it's impossible to summarize here shortly the variety effects of TRH. So last year, 2 years ago, the Stromboli Conference in June 2010, the Stromboli Conference, or the 5th Stromboli Conference on Aging and Cancer, I disclosed also this extraordinary aging reversing effect of TRH. So after many years and going back to my earlier paper, I came to the conclusion that TRH is not a hormone, is not a normal molecule, it is a life-generating molecule, because what has allowed the generation of life on our planet in the primordial times is this molecule, the first life-generating molecule, are still in our body and occupy key position, like for example, just one, allowing the synthesis and production of insulin in the pancreas, in the beta cells. These are life-saving molecule, because if you swallow a kilogram of sugar and there is not a TRH pushing your beta cell to produce insulin, you are going to die, of course.
Yeah,
so
the other thing is that
these molecules are still in our body, and we have to forget about even the principle of hormonal regulation, neurohormonal regulation, what I call now the hormonal patchwork, which is the illusion to be able to restore hormonal regulation by giving that hormone, another hormone, a third hormone, and it is like wanting to touch the web of the spider, forgetting the spider. I mean, everything is shaking, everything is trembling, but the one who can regulate the web is a spider, and we have to focus on the spider. TRH somehow is a spider in the whole story of neurohormonal regulation, and therefore we have now to start evaluating this terrific potential of light-generating molecule. I don't claim that TRH is the only one. There are thousands of peptides, but accidentally I met this hormone. I found this molecule when I was searching for some hormone which may be regulated by the melatonin, the pineal gland, but there's nothing to do with that. In fact, now I know that TRH is a ubiquitous hormone in nature, on the biological life, in the vegetable, everywhere, which occupies a key role in the generation and in maintenance of life. This is why I do believe we are now starting a new chapter in the history of medicine where we focus on some key molecules which are always exist and are still now in our body maintain a key role in maintaining the fundamental metabolic pathway like glucose metabolism, lipid metabolism.
Yeah.
And therefore, what we really should do now is to make clinical work, double-blind, placebo-control, in order to be able to use therapeutically these molecules which are available to us.
Now, the TRH is a molecule that's found throughout a number of not only mammalian but non-mammalian species, so it's very ancient. You showed some interesting slides. I thought to be honest with most of the doctors at the Academy meeting in Las Vegas, your lecture should have been packed to the walls if they really realized exactly what you were presenting. You were actually showing slides of animals that you showed not just slowing aging, but actual organ regeneration and reversal.
Definitely.
Yeah.
This is most astonishing. I'm sorry that at the conference in Las Vegas there was
They also didn't have a question and answer period because
very few people attended because they didn't know where I was.
No, they had. Well, first off, the problem is that.
But what I was showing is simply I was also a pathologist. I work in endocrinology, immunology, in all fields of medical sciences,
right,
and also basic biochemistry and so on. And I think I want to show what I say. I want to show the final demonstration, the claim. I don't care about the mechanism because first of all we have to show the phenomenon. The phenomenon of aging is what? You get renal sclerosis, you have arteriosclerosis, you have infiltration with foreign material like hyalinosis and amyloidosis and so on. And I use as a model the mouse, because in the mouse in 2 years you can see everything. You can see acceleration, you can reversal of aging. So I was focusing for the effect of chronically given TRH on two organs which are key for me, which are the testicles and the kidney. The mice, they generally, if they don't develop tumors, they die of what? Of nephrosclerosis or renal insufficiency. So, and this you can very easily evaluate through the hyalin and amyloid infiltration in the glomeruli and in the tubuli of the kidney. At the same time, you can show in the testicles of the male, and of course I didn't make an experiment with the female, but with male, and I do believe that with the female will be the same, that they get atrophy of the testicle. They lose the germinal follicle. You can see devoid, empty of spermatogonian spermatozoa. So you
keep that up. We'll be right back, Doctor. Welcome back to the NutriMedical Report, and we want Dr. PIERPAOLI to give some further details. Just to summarize, what Dr. PIERPAOLI has found is the first time in human history he's identified a peptide molecule that's naturally in the body. It's in the brain called TRH. It's in the pancreas and small bowel, I would call it by other names like insulin receptor peptide, IRP, or insulin receptor hormone. It would also be what we call the white to brown fat transmutation hormone. It's a hormone that regulates the number of mitochondria in your cells. It actually is a gene switch, the actual ultimate switch for the aging. If we think of aging as a time clock, in other words, it's like flipping the pages or chapters of a book, and that book, as it goes through the chapters, switches on and off specific genes in a sequence that we call aging. And in fact, what the TRH does is actually reverse it to the earlier chapters of that book, regenerating kidneys, nephron slides, which you showed Dr. PIERPAOLI, and the actual germ cells in the regeneration of sperm in the testicles, actual organ regeneration, turning to an earlier chapter in the lifespan of that organism, which is the most remarkable story that's ever been presented. We're not just talking about slowing aging, we're talking about actual biological reversal. And I believe the ultimate cause of, for example, of diabetes, which is an accelerated form of mitochondrial-induced and gene interactive aging, is that the TRH plays a major part in insulin resistance in the muscle cells throughout the body. We know that when you get diabetic, you would develop decreased insulin receptors and increased fat globules in your myocytes. But you did some amazing work. When you presented those slides, my eyes popped out of my head. I said, oh my gosh, she's got the actual proof here with pathological slides showing that this actually does this. And you also have a small clinical project that's been done as well with real patients with weight loss. We have an article we'll be posting up. And with diabetes, you'll be doing more studies as you move your clinic to a special facility in Italy. But this is pretty amazing. Tell us more details of what you presented at the Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, because this should have been the center point for the entire lecture last year, I believe.
Yeah. What I did was trying to introduce the audience to this miracle molecule after spending 22 years with it and summarizing in the most clearest way the effect on the body integrity. And of course, you know perfectly that most people die of diabetes, obesity, arteriosclerosis, and if you can prevent, reverse this, is of course you will conquer aging, or you will conquer life. So, and I was highly disturbed at the conference in Las Vegas of this story of hormonal patchwork, which was monopolizing the audience, believing following the illusory pathway that you can reconstitute the metabolic pathway with that hormone, the other hormone, and other hormones. I say it is impossible. This is maybe useful for many for their own work, but in my view it is even dangerous. So I was trying to demonstrate that by acting on basic molecule which constitute can restore the metabolic pathway, you can reverse diabetes, you can reverse obesity, which does mean that you get slim in the course of a few days, but maybe you can slowly bring back the body to the juvenile metabolism. That you can get with TRH. Arteriosclerosis is of course one of the major causes of aging and diseases and aging and cancer. We don't want to talk today about cancer. I have a lot of experience in oncology. So, summarizing, if the organization which invited me, this wonderful 4 a.m., would focus a little bit more on this wonderful molecule, we could make very quickly quite clinical studies focusing on the main causes of aging and death, which are cardiovascular diseases and cancer.
Yeah. And by the way, all of these diseases are tied directly.
4 a.m. should put more attention on this hard scientific data, which cannot be of therapeutical value now. You understand?
Yeah, you don't have to have it in the future. In fact, I know that there's a company in Britain that makes TRH. and so it could become clinically available. My lecture it's interesting, the same conference was on mitochondrial gene interactions, but the mitochondria has its own ring chromosome. It's the queen of the cell. All your mitochondria come from your mother. And I believe the primary action of TRH is primarily controlling and reversing not only mitochondria but the aging genes, because it's the interaction between mitochondria and specific gene complexes that actually turn on or off or even reverse the aging process. The number of mitochondria, how efficient they are, autophagy, which is the clearance of damaged organelles inside the cell, and the ability of stem cells to tunnel in and differentiate is completely dependent on TRH. TRH it should have many different names for it. We call it TRH, but actually it could be called the anti-aging peptide. It could be called insulin receptor hormone. It could be called brown fat transmutator from white fat, which is the dangerous fat around the middle. So I think that
it plays a key role in basic. I do believe that has to do with some basic ion exchange through the cell membrane. It is a very primordial mechanism for life, TRH. And why TRH is this tripeptide and not other peptides? There are thousands of peptides. I think because of the structure, the molecular structure, and histidine, this unstable peptide, amino acid.
Are there any other species? Whether
is an adaptive molecule at the same time.
It's also very universal. It's interesting. I think you presented some information, Dr. PIERPAOLI, that the peptide is present not only in mammalian species, but it's present in fish, reptiles.
Everywhere.
Yeah, and it's everywhere. And
this is why I want to write a book. I would like, similar to the melatonin miracle, with somebody wanting to join me.
Yeah, well, actually, I've offered
to publish a book because I have a lot of material about TRH collected in 22 years, and it's the most astonishing how this molecule is present in the most varied species, and especially playing a role in the key mechanism of neuroregulation, for example, in amphibian species.
Right.
It is unbelievable how this intelligent molecule plays a role without being in the brain and without brain, for example, being the skin of amphibian.
It's in amphibians and in fish too. You find the TRH in the fish, and also in areas like their sensing organs, like the medulla oblongata of fish that use it for vibrational sensation to navigate through the waters. Now, the interesting thing about TRH is it's the primary regulator of peripheral conversion of thyroid, determines your mitochondria. It regulates so many things, it's amazing. But I believe
that because it's a large generating molecule, we have to free our mind from this, all the ideas, concepts about aging, what. No, we have to take a
keep that thought, Dr. PIERPAOLI. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back, and remarkable discussion. Now, this may seem esoteric, but it's not, because our society is getting older, and I noticed reading this morning that Standard & Poor's was talking about aging, and they've got the wrong paradigm. Their idea was that aging will be the primary thing to destroy the economies of the Western world, and I think what we should do is get rid of the idea that the, quote, safety network system will be there to protect you from the future decay of the population that can't work anymore. I believe that retirement should be the back of a shovel, maybe at 150 or 200 years of age or even older. I think we should be more productive as we get older, because we get wiser, we get more efficient, and if we maintain our health, we should have people reversing aging, so that instead of people going on dialysis, they should regrow their own kidneys, regrow their own retina.
Definitely.
And I think this idea that we have a population that we can decide to have what we call the throwaway society, to throw away wise, talented human beings that have been through an extended life, is a great waste. And we can't afford to do that. We need to recycle people.
But listen, Bill, in particular, we need to prevent diseases.
Exactly.
Preventative medicine is fundamental. We can prevent cancer. I'm building up now on internet system for warning people how can they avoid cancer, because cancer can be very easily avoided. You can see 20 years before in the family what is coming. It's based on hormonal deregulation. I've shown it, I have demonstrated, I have published on the most prestigious journals, but nobody does anything. Nobody is doing preventing diseases.
Tell us about
preventing medicine. We don't have to wait that to appear, that will be established. We can prevent easily all kinds of diseases.
Exactly.
So that is a problem. That can be done immediately. It can be done without any waste of time on energy and even money.
Yeah, it's not expensive.
It's only our intelligence to do it, both concerning the cancer, concerning cardiovascular diseases, all the worst diseases, degenerative diseases. So this can
for example,
be done, and we must prevent it, because one thing is to become 50, 60, 70, 80, and to show the manifestation of aging, and another thing is to start early enough to prevent this degenerative process, in order that when you are 100, you look not like Methuselah, but you look like, let us say, 20, 30, 40 years old. That is the purpose. I don't want to be 100 looking like those poor aging shown in the television, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
100, 110 is disgusting. We should look like, let us say, 20, 30, 40, 50. And we have to prevent this degenerative process. We have to act now, not wait to be old or to reverse aging. Because, of course, for already old people we can reverse, but for relatively young people we can prevent their own aging. You understand?
Exactly. Now the other thing, of course, is looking at the possibility of doing this. It's actually pretty urgent, because the biggest challenge, and I think when Standard & Poor's came out with this, it means our whole model of our healthcare system is wrong. We try to rescue people by doing surgery, putting them in intensive care, extended care hospitals, polypharmacy.
Yes, I would call it.
Polypharmacy, where we give them multiple drugs. And in most cases, these drugs, the people can't even detoxify them. Whereas the approach, for example, that I take with nutraceuticals and with what I call metabolic medicine, is we're trying to approach to reverse things by working with the body and the body's genetics. Now, the diabetic research project will start off something simple. Insulin glucose tolerance test, where you measure insulin and glucose during a 5-hour test, and say a muscle biopsy to show the change in the number of insulin receptors and the number and the conformation of the mitochondria under scanning EM. That alone, that simple study, should be able to show very simply that TRH in a placebo controlled trial should be able to identify, should be able to show a change in the insulin glucose tolerance curves. It'll also show a change in the number of fat globules and the number of insulin receptors and healthy, renewed mitochondria inside the cell, as well as the autophagy, renewing the cellular structure. Most of the degenerative processes have a final common pathway that comes back to the mitochondria and specific switching genes. And what I think you've discovered, which is really pretty dramatic, and this goes back, for example, one of the things we found in people that were obese or diabetic is they may have had even normal or low normal levels of free T3 in their blood, but on our insulin glucose tolerance test, we measured T3 and reverse T3. Their level of reverse T3 was still elevated, and which means there's something going wrong in their peripheral conversion control, and I believe that TRH is that controlling hormone. In other words, if we could measure the postprandial or post-meal level of TRH naturally released by the body, we'd find that people that are deficient become obese, diabetic, demented, develop heart disease. All of these conditions of accelerated aging are all tied together.
Quite possible.
Yeah, that there's a deficiency, and of course the primary places it's present in the fetus, the TRH, in pretty well every organ, but then it's left at higher concentrations in the end in the sexual organs, in the pancreas, and in the jejunum, the upper small bowel, are the highest concentrations in the adult human. And without those levels, basically the aging process clock decides to go to the last chapter of the book and make you 80. And of course, once you start getting one system failing, you get multi-system organ failure, and you start to become demented. Then, of course, the doctors give you drugs that if you aren't pushing over the edge, you will be over the edge fairly shortly. or they start cutting out things, so you become what I call the hollow person syndrome, where they cut out organs and still hope to see if they'll be alive after doing surgery, chemo, radiation, bypass operations, etc.
It's awful. No, but at the fifth Stromboli conference, it was clear that TRH can even induce a regeneration of beta cells. Can you imagine? I'm very fond of diabetes. In Seattle, I was working at the Fred Hutchinson for many years. We are ready for a system for transplantation of pancreatic islets, and also regeneration in Leipzig in Germany. We are ready to start working on regeneration of the individual personal cells from the blood.
And then, of course,
it can be done. Nobody's doing anything because diabetes, is not a disease; it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy of life.
Well,
you lose your metabolic capacity. Fortunately, I was working a lot in biochemistry at the beginning of my career. After my degree, so I'm very fond of energy production mechanism, and I do believe that with a good group we could show it. But at the basically, I think we can reverse aging now.
Exactly.
We can reverse aging, whatever the mechanism, we can do it. And
in fact, I think
now. It's not complicated. Consequently, we can then carry on a lot of disease in all different directions. But I'm in a hurry to prevent aging. My own aging, my neighbors, my friends, my patients, they are all very happy. And, I have thousands of patients which are cured, So I don't have any capacity of power of communication, only very modest. And frankly speaking, I don't care about it. I don't want to become rich and famous, but I want to remain free and especially healthy. So, and I see around me the truth of this application of this knowledge, and TRH is a key molecule, no doubt about it. How I was publishing on it, working on it, the evidence is clear. Now we have to join forces, escaping the traps of fashion, of wanting to achieve too much too quickly, but after all, if you can reverse aging in one patient, you can reverse aging the whole world.
Exactly. In other words, perhaps listening to this program is an individual that will be one of the first to live to be 150, 200, or 300 years of age, listening to this show today because of the research that you're doing and I'll be collaborating with in 2012. Welcome back, and Dr. PIERPAOLI had an amazing discussion on the break. I think what we're trying to say is we want to give people back hope. Nowadays, we have a world that's increasingly toxic. The soil has been destroyed by farming practices. It's demineralized. People are exposed to 7 new industrial chemicals every day. All of these have the final
it's a disaster. I agree with you.
All of these chemicals have the effect.
More healthy children. It's a disaster.
Well, in Japan now, for example,
we cannot stop it. It's too late. We can simply try to avoid as much as we can, but the way how we can resist this terrible pollution of the world with thousands and thousands of pollutants is to give to the body the capacity to react. We cannot
to cope with it.
We cannot stop pollution. It is impossible. It's too late. We can give to the body the possibility to establish its own strength and to react and to reinforce. Another way to become a different human being, more able to resist all these offenses. And that is a way I can see also concerning diseases. You have, why do you get viral diseases, bacterial, whatever? the best way is not to take antibiotic, but to build up your own strong immune response, of course.
Right.
That is where melatonin, all these stories can be very helpful in the story. You know the melatonin story, yeah?
Exactly. Yeah, you did all of the research on that. What we're saying is, the first thing I call it the improving the ecological basis, not only of us individually, but at the population, not only of humans, but all species on the planet, and realizing that we can, number one, have to stop pollution, which I think we can. I think it actually is doable. The idea of chasing carbon dioxide is not the issue, it's stopping pollution. But I think the first thing is to put our bodies back into the zone of compensation, as you say, the zone where we can cope with those stressors, and it won't cause us to get dementia, heart disease, or serious health problems, to cope with those stressors that would cause us down the road to develop plaque in our arteries, or to develop neurofibrillar tangles in our brain, or to develop degenerative changes in our kidneys, or to end up with what we call andropause, where male menopause occurs, because it's a control program. In other words, this is like a control program that you don't have to go down that pathway. And as we use nutraceuticals to try to reverse the metabolic status, we can also combine things like TRH with energetic technologies like pulse magnetic field, pulse light therapy, infrared sauna, technologies such as hyperbaric oxygen. One of the most remarkable that we've seen so far is pulse magnetic field. And
you can add the other system, of course, combined with TRH.
And the TRH, I think,
especially for restoring original health. While I think now we can start aware with the preventive medicine concerning cancer, arteriosclerosis. Arteriosclerosis, believe me, I see patients with a very advanced arteriosclerosis. You can see them even how they walk, how they look at you. You should see the reversal of arteriosclerosis. It's not true. Arteriosclerosis can be fully restored. You can evaluate by the lipid, by glycemia in blood. You can even see the restoration of wall elasticity of the arteria. Arterial stiffness can be restored to total elasticity, and you can document it. You can reverse arteriosclerosis.
Yeah, you can do that with you can do what's called duplex ultrasound scans to actually show this. We talked about this with Dr. Mayer Eisenstein a few weeks ago, who teaches in the academy also. He's going to do it with his clinic using his HCG model, which is another peptide that's present in the newborn, because without HCG, the first stage of pregnancy can't survive. I believe that there's. I believe it's
a very interesting molecule, of course.
Now, the key is, where's this all research going? Firstly, I believe, number one, we need to get back to non-GMO food, non-toxic water, moderate exercise, and we need to actually start.
Definitely, yes. I'm very worried about it. In fact, we are living in Switzerland here, a relatively healthy environment, and also in Italy there is more and more consciousness about lifestyle and food, especially food. We have a very good food somehow, yes, of course, not like when I was born. The world, when I was born, it was totally clean. I was born in the pre-war time, and so I can remember very well. I was drinking seawater. I would not drink seawater now in the Adriatic Sea. But somehow we have to combine different knowledge and wisdom and try to do the best. So I am not anymore 50 or 40 or 50. I am 70, but I must say I don't feel age.
You certainly don't talk 70. You talk.
So I think I was able to apply on myself, on my passion, this principle, the discoveries, these ideas. And this molecule, of course, will help me a lot to reverse aging. Whether I can do it with some organization or by myself in my own organization, which will be established now in Italy, we will see. I talked to Ron Klatz about this development in Italy, which could be extremely interesting for 4 a.m.
Yes, I know. Dr. Klatz is the president, is a good friend, and he's brilliant, and he understands and is able to spot what I call brilliant people like yourself that are doing what I call the key research. It's like, let's put it this way, you're like the Nikola Tesla of anti-aging. Now, most people didn't realize that Nikola Tesla...
But of course, I did a lot of studies, and I think the study in the pineal gland melatonin, which is not at all what people think, melatonin simply put it to sleep the pineal gland, and the pineal gland is also producing TRH, resetting the clock, because what is important for maintaining health is hormonal intersynchronization, not a single hormone, but how they talk to each other.
Yes.
The clock is a synchronic, is a spider of the web, and without the spider, the web will collapse. We cannot make hormonal patchwork. We have to restore the intelligence, the capacity, and the health of the spider. And the spider is the pineal gland, the neuroendocrine system, the hypophysis, and so on. So this is the intelligent nature beyond any imagination. And so nature has invented TRH, not invented TRH. TRH emerged from the muddy world on this biosphere. It was emerging, and is a molecule, is a tripeptide, which has started life in our planet, I do believe.
Exactly. I think it's one of the key. In fact, if you think of our cells as an amalgam of two different life forms, the ring chromosome of mitochondria and we call the regular genetic chromosomes of the other part of the eukaryotic cell, if you want to call it the marriage ceremony or the ring that binds the two together, are ancient peptides like TRH, literally allowing the crosstalk between mitochondria and the cellular genes so that their marriage stays together. And just to read just a sentence of your article here, which I'll post up, the age-reversing properties of thyrotropin-releasing hormone in this abstract, it says in paragraph 2, remarkably, 4-month oral treatment with TRH maintains testes function in aging mice, as hinted by the significant increase of testes weight. TRH taken from the drinking water produces a maintenance and or reconstruction of the testes structure and function, as shown by active proliferation and formation of mature spermatogonia and intensive spermatogenesis in the follicles.
Yes, definitely. Unfortunately, I was also a pathologist.
Even the reverses of amyloid.
The facts with my own eyes, making slices of the organs.
Amazing.
And of course, the basic level, of course, there is a link between the energy-producing mechanism and TRH, because we live through respiration, cell respiration, aerobic glycolysis, and Krebs cycle. We live because we produce energy. We use oxygen, and this is a way how we can see how TRH is probably acting, but maybe allowing the function of the mitochondria by allowing the transit of ions through the membrane of the mitochondria.
Exactly.
There must be something like that, allowing the mitochondria to function.
Well, I'm looking forward. 2012 will be the year, I believe, we will announce not only through AFUM but the world that if you want to call it remember that search by the Spanish conquistadors to find the Fountain of Youth? The Fountain of Youth was in your lab in Switzerland.
Listen, if you are interested, we could talk about a common book,
Absolutely. We're going to have you back on soon, Walter, perhaps in the next week or so.
I have good links in New York with Simon & Schuster, the wonderful writers and the managers who allowed me to...
Excellent.